Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you first get into bike racing or sidecar racing?
You better start with that.
I used to race solos about 10, 12 years ago, around about that. Gave it up for a little while, but my dad's always raced sidecars. He passed away and I managed to get hold of his old sidecar. It had been sat for quite a number of years. It was all rusty and didn't really work, so I spent about 9 months doing it up, and at the end of it I thought, well, might as well have a go on it. So I gave Stuart a shout. We used to play football together. He lived a couple of doors down, so he was handy for giving me a lift. And said, do you fancy having a go? So we jumped on and just loved it straight away. And then our second year we were centre champions, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
And yeah, we got the opportunity to do TT, and not many people get the opportunity to do it. Growing up on the Isle of Man, you're kind of brought up next to the TT. You get to see heroes coming over every year, so like growing up around it, it's awesome to have the opportunity to take part in it, really.
It is, yeah. Like Craig says, like a dream come true. You know, it's kind of one of these things when you're a kid, you sit there at the side of the road watching all your heroes thinking, I'd love to do that one day, but never really thought I'd have the opportunity to do it. So yeah, it's realisation of a lifelong dream, really.
So what bike racers do you admire? Who are your sort of biking heroes?
Solos, it's got to be Joey Dunlop. Got him, there's no one else like him. I don't think McGuinness will catch him. As great as McGuinness is, Joey Dunlop was just something special. Sidecars, it's got to be Molly. Yeah. What about you?
Really boringly, exactly the same. I still have arguments now with my dad. Was like a big Mike Hailwood fan, and we still argue now when we have a few beers over who would have, you know, if they'd have raced at the same time, who would have been the best rider. Obviously he goes for Hailwood, I stick with Joey, but I think sidecars, it's got to be Dave Molyneux. I mean, he's in his mid-50s, alright, he hasn't won a TT for a couple of years, but there's certainly more wins left in him. But the thing I like about Dave is he's always pushing forward with new ideas, and he's not afraid to go down avenues that other sidecar riders might sort of shy away from, and if it doesn't work he just kind of says, well, you know, puts it down to experience and goes back to the drawing board. So he's really moving the sport forward even in his, you know, mid-50s.
I mean, to do with last year's TT, can you tell us how you did in each race?
Yeah, last TT was quite difficult for us. The first 2 years we had a pretty easy, didn't we?
We were lucky.
Yeah. And then last year everything just went wrong. A couple of weeks before TT I got a brand new motor, tuned, done a couple 100 miles, put it in the bike, but I got a new oil cooler at the same time. The oil cooler had a load of aluminium filings in it, which obviously I didn't know. Chucked it straight into my motor, destroyed my motor 2 weeks before TT. So I got straight onto Virgin Money, got a credit card and got another motor shipped over. And then the first race, well, practice week was a washout for everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So like nobody was really getting the laps under their belt. So going into that first race, wasn't really feeling it, were you?
No, it was, like Craig said, a lot of the sessions had been washed out, and we were stood around a lot of the week sort of kicking our heels, just really waiting to get out and get some bike time.
First race broke down on the mountain, second lap. So that was another motor out. And then going into the second race, we put the new motor in. We went out on the Wednesday afternoon just for a practice lap. Came back in, everything was fantastic. So we clocked off early. Came back on the Thursday just to give the bike a little once over and a clean, and Stewie's the in-house team cleaner. And he spotted a load of oil on the rear shock. So we got in touch with the Maxton guys, but unfortunately their servicing truck had gone on the boat. On the Wednesday night, we were scratching around, managed to find another shock, but we didn't have any settings for it. It was a completely different shock. So we just had to chuck it in the bike and find out at the bottom of Bray Hill how it was. And it was awful.
Yeah, but as we were going down Bray Hill, I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, but to be honest, it came right on the night. We posted our fastest lap, our best finish. So yeah, it was a hard one, but it was well worth it in the end, wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah, best result, and you know, as I say, to have done our fastest lap on a, you know, with a shock that we had no settings for, it was quite wild in places, wasn't it? It just makes you think what would have been possible had we had the number one shock on, but you know, hopefully we'll find out this year.
I think it's quite good though, because it kind of made you realise how much you want to do it. When everything's going well for you, it's easy. When things start going wrong, that's when you find out how much you want to do it. And I want to do it. So hopefully this year everything falls in place.
What are your expectations for this year? What places would you like to try and achieve?
I don't think you can. I don't really like to say what I want to do up here, because I think it just puts a little bit of pressure on yourself. Every year we've improved, we've got faster, and I think if you just keep chipping away like that, then you know it'll come to you in the end. When sidecar racing is a funny sport, you tend to find that the best people are the guys with the experience. So I think just keep plugging away, and the times will hopefully come to you.
Yeah.
Same for me really. I think we were 18th last year, and if we can improve on that and improve our lap speeds, then I'll be happy. I've got no sort of fixed ideas about where you want to finish. I mean, we'll finish where we finish, but as long as we improve on last year, then I'll be happy.
What do you do in the hours leading up to a race? What sort of things do you normally do to try and focus?
I think with me, probably about an hour before the race, I'm quite relaxed, quite chilled out, but I think about an hour before a race I don't speak to anyone. I just completely zone off, and I don't really want to speak to anyone. I just like to be left on my own and with my own thoughts, put my headphones in and just ignore everyone and get ready to stare down that road.
I try to entertain the guests, but to be honest, it is the last thing you want to do. But you've always got kind of friends and family in the audience, so you just I try and make small talk with them. But I think, like in an ideal world, I'd be doing what Craig is doing, but I just feel really bad not talking to anyone, so I try and do it as best I can.
So the last thing you want someone coming up with a video camera interviewing you.
To be honest, something like that, it does take your mind off you know what you're about to sort of go out and do. So
you can feel like the whole everyone around you. You can see your friends, your mates. You can see everyone's attitude changing as the clock ticks down in the morning. Everyone's excited, but coming out before, I don't know what it's like for Dodge, but yeah, it's time to get serious a bit then.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any rituals or superstitions leading up to a race?
No, I don't. I do.
None that you can tell. I haven't really got any sort of rituals. I'm quite a big believer in warming up properly. There's a lot of guys in sidecar racing who are quite old school, and like their idea of warming up is probably having a couple of fags.
Oh, yeah.
But to be honest, I'm quite into the fitness side, so I make sure I'm properly warmed up. And aside from that, I guess the only superstition I've got is putting on my right boot first and my right glove before my left. I've no idea why. That's just
got OCD.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
Tell us what parts of the TT course you like.
Ooh, I absolutely love Kurt Michael to Ramsey. I think just because it's so bumpy and so wild, it's like it's like being on a rodeo bull. It's awesome, and that to me, that's road racing. You can go to Cadwell Park and places like that. It's nice and smooth. So if you want to do that sort of racing, go to them sort of places. I just love the roads because they're just mental.
Yeah.
I think sort of the same section as Craig, but I'd extend that back probably as far as Ballacrane. So basically Ballacrane right on through to Ramsey is the section I really love. The other two sections, sort of from the start to Ballacrane, for a sidecar passenger, you're not really doing much work on that section. You're kind of tucked in because there's a lot of flat out straights and corners, so you're tucked in out of the wind. Likewise on the mountain, compared to the other sections of the course, there's not a lot of work to do for a sidecar passenger, so sort of Glen Helen to Ramsey's really where you earn your money.
I think it was quite nice as well coming into Ramsey, because we're Ramsey lads.
Yeah.
And you know that all your mates are down at the Swan. His parents used to own the Swan.
Yeah.
So you know they're all down there with their pints, and there's certain places like coming out of the Gooseneck, and as you're going around, you'll pick out a couple of your mates, you'll see them, and just knowing that your friends and your family are out watching you, and they're in Ramsey, that's pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
What's the fastest part of the course for you?
I don't know, I think the stretch to Balcrane, isn't it? It's pretty much flat out.
I would say so, yeah.
And what's your speed at that stage?
Well, there's no speed trap through there. The speed trap coming through Sulby, what was that? About 140?
143, I think it was,
Yeah,
just
about
under
100.
143 last year, which is not bad for a 600 engine with two fat blokes on board.
And what would you say is the most difficult section of the course?
Oh, me, I've always struggled with Glen Helen. The Glen Helen section, I just never seem to get right, but yeah, hopefully this year. I've done a bit of homework this year, so hopefully it'll pay off.
For me, definitely the beginning of Sulby Straight to Ramsey, it's just so bumpy. It's like everybody says it, and like I've been round the TT for years, and you kind of, a rider will say, oh god, it's so bumpy through there, and you just go, oh right, yeah. But until you experience it at race speeds, it's hard to put into words. It's just, it's a struggle to see through there.
Yeah.
You're getting thrown around so much. I dread to think how he sees where he's going.
I don't. On a sidecar, you've got probably 2 inches of suspension, so you feel every single bump. One of my friends told me the faster you go through the Sulby to Ramsey, the better. Not just because you get it out of the way, but you kind of like skip over the bumps, like a jet ski. Like a jet ski just goes like that. So it's kind of true. The faster you go through there, the better it is. Well, it might not be for you.
Now we've got a few off the wall questions for you. So the first one is, if you could listen to music as you race around the TT circuit, what would it be?
Oh, I'll let you go first.
It would have to be some sort of dance music, definitely, to kind of match the tempo with hopefully match the tempo with the race and get you in the zone.
Yeah, I'm more of a, I don't know, bit of AC/DC or something, blaring out. Yeah, is that what I'm trying to do? Yeah.
What's your favourite movie?
Ooh, Goodfellas for me. Yeah, definitely.
I wish you'd asked me this yesterday and I would have wrote down. I don't know, I quite like documentary movies, like the Senna movie and Closer to the Edge, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I watch that. Well, Talladega Nights, there you go. Talladega Nights, yeah.
What was that? You're not first, you're last.
Yes, shake and bake.
And the reason I asked that question is, if they made a movie about you racing in the TT, which actor would you like to play you?
Probably got the Mitchell brothers.
So an EastEnders theme.
Yeah.
I can't top that.
The last question. If you won the lottery, so say you won a £10 million prize in the lottery, what bike or car would you buy?
I'd be straight over to the Birchalls getting a new LCR.
I think I'd be hot in pursuit to get a spare outfit.
Yeah. So that would be your dream, if you won the lottery, that would be it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to me, all I think about now is, I was told when we first started, once you do the TT, that's it, your life will never be the same. And it's so true. I spend one TT to the next TT thinking about the TT. So yeah, if I had all the money in the world, I'd be off to buy a new bike, ready to go again.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Craig, Stuart, thanks for talking to us today.
No problem.
Good luck in this year's TT.
Thank you very much.